So, I mean, we talk about Africans doing African research. So once we, the people who are concerned, begin to study ourselves and write our own story, it tells a better story than an outsider coming to do that.
We can always think about transforming our societies without looking at that through the Western perspective, without looking at that through the Western prism. And thirdly, we have had to be deliberate to think about indigenous and other knowledges in terms, therefore, of how we think of our societies.
Given the knowledge that we have gained over the past 2 days, I expect that it will contribute to changing the research ecosystem in Africa through the production of decolonized knowledge. I expect that in linking indigenous knowledge to entrepreneurship, we can be able to harness the massive opportunities that are available in the various sectors in Africa, such as.
And it's about time that Africa's knowledge system be recognized globally for what it is, which is another way of knowing. Different does not mean unequal or inferior. It is just enrichment. And African knowledge system has been consigned to the periphery of knowledge systems around the world.
And most importantly, how do we carry out research, on and about indigenous people, indigenous knowledge systems in Africa, and entrepreneurship. So from this workshop, I'm better informed. From this workshop, I have a deeper understanding. From this workshop, I can actually go out and research on indigenous knowledge systems, particularly its nexus with entrepreneurship.
Without their natural resources, there is no indigenous knowledge. So these two, they work hand in hand. These natural resources, they hold their socio-economic system, they hold their religion, they hold their sacred spaces, they also hold the real person, who they really are. It defines them from birth to the end of life.
So there is need to find a way to broaden this scope such that young women can also have a voice. Because if I go to a community to collect data and I primarily want to speak to women, but I'm being told by the community that I can't speak to women, then that research is already stunted.
Why is it that sage philosophy, which the late Odera Oruka, for instance, pioneered, isn't the home for creation of professorships? Why is it that some of the people about whom we are saying we are going to co-create knowledge with are not appearing in radical journals, demonstrating that indigenous knowledge is actually not alternative knowledge, but rather that is integral and the center of knowledge defined by those of us who are actually interested in working around those areas.
So even the concept of research, going into a community to research as Black Africans, needs to be reframed. It is a rediscovery, a decolonial process of re-entering an indigenous knowledge system, which over time has gone through ethnocide, genocide, forced removal, divestment, and the de-Africanization project, which is extremely acute in the Western Cape in South Africa, where the community that I represent constitutes millions of Africans who are unconvinced that they're African, relegated to this entity called colored.
We are going to make this stand out in terms of coming up strongly and own our own knowledge. Because at one time, there was a lot of cultural theft, I can say. People tapping a lot of knowledge from us. Now is the time to return it and own it.